Still have a Masters hangover? Coming up on Morning Drive, we've got the cure. We'll have live reports and highlights from the RBC Heritage at Harbortown. And we're going to learn from world number one, Lydia Ko. Travis Fulton is in studio, and he's got the goods on what she's been working on. And NFL MVP Joe Theismann is in the house. Morning Drive starts now.
It is Morning Drive, Thursday, April 13th, 2017. Welcome into Studio AP. We are glad that you are here. Whit Watson, Charlie Reimer, Paige McKenzie. We are joined by Travis Fulton, Bailey Mosier in the studio, and Damon Hack, lucky dog, on the road at Hilton Head. We'll talk to him a bit later. Golf moves on after the Masters, and Charlie, as has been the case now for more than 30 years, the next stop after Augusta is Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and the RBC Heritage. You've got, obviously, a deep attachment to South Carolina in particular. What about this event do you like?
Well, I grew up in the state, and for me, it was a place in the summer times we would go on vacation. And when I got the PGA Tour, being able to play in this event a few times was something that was really super special. All my friends and family showed up. In fact, in 1996, I played Saturday and Sunday with Greg Norman, which is something I'll never forget. He didn't beat me either. Those 2 days, well, I didn't beat him. We tied. But going around, with Greg Norman at Hilton Head for 2 days and tying him, I'll take that.
Well, I can see your eyes light up, Charlie. And I know one of the things when you talk about South Carolina, it's about the food. So if you're visiting Hilton Head, what do we need to eat?
Oh, my goodness. So many choices. This time of year, you got to get into the seafood. You got to check out the oysters, the crabs, the local fishes. Some great restaurants down there as well. But it's more than just about the food. I got a lot of pride in South Carolina.
Now.
We're producing a lot of good golfers in the world of golf right now in the state of South Carolina.
You've had a good year, good couple of years.
Haas, Lucas Glover, yeah.
Well, a good year for South Carolina in general. You got the Women's Final Four National Championship. The men got to the Final Four, so good on you.
They call it Palmetto Pride.
You had nothing to do with any of that, but congratulations, Charlie. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Whit. I'll take full credit.
A very busy week in golf. The Trophée Hassan II on the European Tour. This is in Morocco at Royal Golf Dar es Salaam. Y.E. Yang headlining the field there. Matteo Monacero, Jamie Donaldson among the notables. LPGA at the Lotte Championship, the sixth playing. Mi Hyang Lee and Paula Creamer tied for the lead in the first round. They were suspended due to some late tee times in Hawaii. More on that coming up. And then the PGA Tour, as mentioned, at the RBC Heritage, and Ikeda of Japan with the lead at 3 under par at Harbortown Golf Links. They lost 300 trees during Hurricane Matthew, so playing very much as a different golf course. We'll talk about that with Damon Hack a little bit later. Some key tee times for the opening round at Hilton Head. Charlie, we'll start with you.
Well, in my grouping, I've got 8 wins among the 3 players, starting with Brandt Snedeker, who is always dangerous, especially on this golf course. Brandt broke his putter earlier this season. They put it back together for him. He hasn't quite putted as well with this version of it, but I'm sure he'll get it figured out. And then Davis Love III. He's just won 5 times here. That's it. Just 5 times in this event. And he's a little bit of an anomaly because this generally isn't considered a long hitter's ballpark. Davis Love certainly hits it a long ways. And then Jim Furyk with a couple of wins here. And he's sort of the prototypical player that you would think would play well at Harbortown because Jim Furyk hits a ton of fairways. It's not a lot of room to hit drivers here. That suits him fine, sort of throttles the long hitters back. But this grouping right here, classy guys, and we'll certainly see some great golf from them later today.
If you're playing fantasy golf on golfchannel.com, you look at that grouping and think, well, one of those guys has to win this golf. That's like the prototypical Hilton Head grouping right there.
If they don't, one of them doesn't win, certainly one of them will get a top 5.
Exactly right. Yeah. Paige, who are you following today?
I'm keeping an eye on several guys that have actually played really well this season. Pat Perez being one of them, alongside Jason Duffner. And Webb Simpson, we always talked about that Matsuyama winning at Waste Management. Well, again, it was over a playoff with Webb Simpson, and he fits that prototypical mold you're talking about, Charlie. He's not long off the tee, only averaging 285 yards, but excellent iron player so far this season in strokes gained into the green, 9th. And then the other thing to consider is that you might be missing quite a few greens here because they are so small, and he is doing very well in around the green strokes gained this season. So somebody to keep an eye on as a favorite, maybe moving into this week.
She knows of what she speaks, Charlie. This golf course since 2000 has the lowest greens in regulation percentage of any event on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, you got to scramble.
56.5%.
And if you look at the average winner over the past, I think, 10 years, they've missed 24 greens for the week. So no matter who you are, you got to be sharp with your short game. Even if you're a great ball striker, you're going to miss quite a few greens.
Smallest greens on average on the PGA Tour, 3,700 square feet. Let's go on the range with Ace up to Hilton Head, South Carolina. Again, Damon Hack joining us a bit later on the show on Morning Drive. But Beef on the range. Why wouldn't you? Andrew Beef Johnston on the range there in Hilton Head. I had the chance to talk to him and watch him play, Charlie, for the first time for any length in Puerto Rico. First of all, what a great guy. Just a fantastic personality. We brought him into the booth, and we had to kick him out after 15 minutes. The kid won't shut up, right? It's fantastic.
What's wrong with that?
But really, he brings a passion and a joy to what he does. He's just having a blast doing what he's doing, and I think that translates to some pretty good golf.
Well, yeah, and he's being true to himself, and I think the danger with looking at Beef is you think, well, here's a personality, here's somebody with a distinct look. Clearly, he's had some commercial success with that, but don't forget, he's being very authentic. If you're around him at all, he's not putting on a show. I mean, he is who he is, and you got to do that in golf. It's really hard to go out and play golf for a long time and try and be somebody that you're not, I think.
You have to be comfortable in your own skin, and if you look top to bottom, the players that succeed out on tour are probably the most confident and comfortable in their own skin. He is definitely one of them.
Let's take a look at the European Tour this week, the Trophée Hassan II across the pond in Morocco. The event at Royal Golf Dar es Salaam. Jung-Hyun Wang won this event last year, one of 3 wins for him on the European Tour. Some highlights, starting at the par 4 fourth, Jaco van Ziel, as he rolls it home. 1 under through 16. Charlie, you've got a history at this event.
Well, I went over there and played in 1995. The late Billy Casper hosted this event, and it's absolutely beautiful property. There's 36 holes of Robert Trent Jones golf there. It's in a cork oak forest. It's spectacular, Whit.
The Moroccan native Yunus El Hassani for birdie at 4. Big group at level par. Tough to play in front of the home crowd, but that is the challenge for El Hassani this week. Gary Stahl is the leader in the clubhouse. Shots like this on the par 5-8.
Yeah, that was an awkward length shot. Right in there, maybe 40, 45 yards. Difficult to hit it hole high, but that right there was textbook.
And Stahl now tied for the lead with a handful of players at 3 under. Y.E. Yang, Mateo Monacero, Jamie Donaldson, Robert Rock, Eric Compton among the notables playing this week in Morocco. We head to Hawaii and the Lotte Championship Ko-Olina Golf Club. Is that any good? Wednesday, Saturday schedule once again for this event, 6th edition of the event in the park. Paige has not played a whole lot of golf in the last 12 months, but here she is, par 4 7th, doing what she does.
And when she plays well. She took the flag out, Charlie, and I know you and I disagree on that, but that hole looked a lot bigger without the flag stick in there.
3 under on the day.
I say pull it out.
This is last week's champion, So Yun Yu, on the par 4 7th, her 3rd birdie of the day. She is rolling right along over to 9. And again, in the fairway.
And she's been rolling right along all season long. This is the new world number 2 after 5 consecutive finishes in the top 7 in her LPGA starts this season.
A chance to take over the world's #1 ranking this week as well, depending on what Lydia Ko does. And again, we'll have more on that a little bit later. Paula Creamer playing well this week, par 4 9th.
A little different grip, if you will notice. Last 3 years, been using left-hand low, switched to conventional putting this week.
And now par 4 10th again.
And just a beautiful stroke. You can see how efficient that is. The same distance on the way back as on the way forward, always accelerating through impact.
Saw that she was tied with Lee for the lead in the first round as the weather came in Hawaii and they had to suspend play. And we all assumed, oh, Minjee Lee, last year's champion, right? Wrong. No, it's Mi Hyang Lee who is tied for the lead. Minjee, who won this event last year, shot 73 in her opening round, +1. So Creamer and Lee at 66. And Yun Hee Ji, Lizette Salas, Beth Allen, all at 67s. Travis Fulton now joining the show. More on what Lydia Ko has been working on. Travis?
Yeah, thank you, Whit. Lydia Ko, yesterday +1. Not a great start there in Hawaii. T11 last week and an inspiration there at the first major. And Lydia Ko, it's a time of change for her right now. New equipment, some new things in the golf swing, new putting stroke, lots of little changes for her. She's trying to find her way. Got to catch up with Gary Gilchrist, her new coach, and he walked me through some of the changes that they're making right now. The first thing with Lydia, two things that address, trying to get the feet a little bit wider and also taking on a little bit of side tilt. So the spine right now, you'll notice as you watch this week, the spine's a little bit more tilted to the right, trying to get a little more of an aggressive turn and wind up in the backswing. So here we go. This is last year with Lydia on the left, and then yesterday's coverage here with Lydia on the right. Now, we're going to take it back here on the left, and what you're going to see here, of course, with Lydia, she was working with David Ledbetter. They're trying to stand the club up very vertical here. So they get back to this 9 o'clock position here, and you can see the hands kind of work inside deep. We'll bring a line in here to help you see the golf club, but that club very vertical and pointing down well inside the target line. Now, over here on the right, as we take Lydia back, you're going to start seeing a little different hand path. The hands are going to work a little bit wider, a little bit more out in front of her. That's going to allow her to turn a little bit more aggressively and also start to rotate the shaft. So you can see here the club at the top, not a huge difference. We're starting to see some of the changes, but if we put a line here, you'll see the club on a little bit more of an angle. So not as much this way going back where the hands are deep and the shaft vertical. Hands are a little bit more out in front of her, trying to get the club to lay down and get the club to point more out towards the ball target line. So two different concepts, two different positions, really going back to the top of the swing. Now, let's watch here how she would bring it down from this very vertical position. So from here, the club would start to shallow out. We got to get the club to shallow out, down into impact. And then from here, over here on the right, with the club pointing a little bit more out towards the ball target line, a little less shallow, trying to get the club a little bit more out in front of her right here so she can cover the golf ball. And when you look at these two impact positions, the things that jump out to me, and we're going to spot shadow this here as we really zoom in here on the forearms, you can see more space over here in between the forearms with Lydia last year. And then, of course, over here on the right, you can see that space starts to go away. And perhaps the biggest changes here as a result of the club, before the club being vertical and then starting to shallow out, Lydia would have a tendency to hang back this way like this, where you would get that space between the forearms. And now that she's starting to get the club a little bit more in this position, she gets the club much more out in front of her, and now she can cover. She doesn't hang back, and that's where you see some of this space going away. And a lot of these changes, she was in studio with this here early in the year, is to get this club to operate better, hit more fairways. Statistically, she's moving in the right direction. She's got to get that putter heated up so we can see those scores get back down to the level that we're used to seeing from the world number one. Over to you, Bailey.
Travis, thank you, and good morning to everyone at home. Happy Thursday. A lot of work left for Lydia Ko, the world number one. She shot 1 over in the first round, so she's going to have a lot of work left to do this week. But you know who is not working? That's right, these guys. SB2K17 is on. That's Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Smiley Kaufman, and Justin Thomas. They are down in the Bahamas for the second edition. They even have their own Snapchat filters. So we here at Morning Drive at Golf Channel, we have been following their action. We're bringing it to you right now. This from Justin Thomas. Wouldn't be a trip without matching tanks. So this was day 2. The first day was Tuesday, and Smiley Kaufman, he teased us a little bit. He said that he wasn't sure if they would all get their schedules together to make the SB2K17, but here's Smiley Kaufman. Everybody else jumped off first. He was a little bit scared, but then he did take the leap. And then this from Gary Player. He is alone on a beach. He's not with the guys at SB2K17. He says when you're disappointed, you're not invited. And you know why he wasn't? It's fact. It's not my opinion. It's because he looks better without his shirt on than the rest of those guys. 81 years old. We all know how hard Gary Player works on his body. All right, well, much more Morning Drive to do today. The PGA Tour has made its way from Georgia to South Carolina this week for the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head. Charlie Reimer recently spent some time at nearby Kiowa Island Golf Resort. When we come back, he'll tell you why South Carolina is the perfect spot for your next golf getaway.